What's up, Tax fam? Have you ever had to travel for work? Maybe it's a quick trip to meet with a client, or maybe you have to pack up and go out of state or even out of the country for a few days. Well, here's the good news. You can usually deduct the cost of your work-related travel from your taxes. But hold up, before you start getting excited and claiming everything under the sun, you should know that the rules around this can get pretty complicated. The ATO keeps a close eye on people who make incorrect travel claims, so it's really important to make sure you know what you're doing. In this video, we will break it all down for you, so you can confidently claim any work-related travel expenses without getting in trouble with the taxman. Let's get into it and start with using your car for work purposes. If you're required to use your own car for work, you might be entitled to some tax deductions for the expenses you incur while on the job. It's important to note that this doesn't include the cost of your regular commute from your home to work unless you meet specific requirements like carrying bulky tools which can't be safely stored at work. So what kind of situations might qualify you to get a deduction when using your car for work? Well, if you're traveling between different work sites during the day, that could be one situation where you could claim some expenses. Another scenario could be if you're going directly from one job to another, as long as you don't stop at home in between. If you're traveling to a business-related meeting with a client, supplier, or prospect, that could potentially be deductible. And finally, if you're traveling to a work-related cause, that could also qualify you for some deductions. There are two ways to make this claim: the cents per kilometer method and the logbook method. The cents per kilometer method allows you to claim a flat rate of 78 cents per kilometer for every business kilometer you travel, up to a maximum of 5,000 kilometers per year per vehicle for 2023 financial year. If you travel more than 5,000 kilometers per year, you will need to use the logbook method. The logbook method allows you to claim the actual expenses you have incurred in running your vehicle for work, such as fuel, servicing, insurance, and depreciation. To use this method, you will need to keep a logbook for your business journeys for a 12-week period, along with the receipts and everything you spent on your vehicle. Besides your car expenses, there are actually quite a lot of other travel items you can claim. But remember, all these must be work-related and not connected to your journey from home to work. These expenses include public transport fares, airfares, taxi or Uber fares, car parking, and tolls. It's probably worth mentioning that expenses you can't claim include fines for speeding, parking infringements, or other offenses. Now, let's say you have to travel away from home overnight for work purposes. You can claim a deduction for any meals, accommodation, or incidental expenses you incur as long as your employer doesn't reimburse you for these costs. If you travel a lot for work, your employer might give you an allowance to cover your travel expenses. It is important to note that these allowances are considered taxable income, but the good news is that you can still claim a deduction for the expenses you incur while traveling. Something to be aware of though is the ATO publishes lists of reasonable amounts you can spend on things like meals and accommodation during overnight business trips. If your employer pays you an allowance and you spend less than the ATO's reasonable amount, you don't need to keep the details record like receipts and invoices. But if you spend more than the ATO's reasonable amount, you must keep the details records. I find that many people assume they can automatically claim the ATO's reasonable amount, but that's not how it works. You can only claim what you actually spent. And the ATO's reasonable amount determines whether you need to keep the detailed records. So those are the three main types of travel expenses you can claim. But there are two more unassuming tax deductions. First, if you attend a work-related conference or course, you can claim your transportation costs if it is local, or airfares, accommodation, and meals if it is interstate or overseas. And second, when you visit a tax agent to get your tax return done or seek tax advice, you might know the fee you pay is tax deductible, but you can also claim related travel expenses, which is pretty cool. So if you need help claiming these travel expenses, don't let the accounting course steer you away because they're tax deductible too. Before I sign off this video, don't forget to hang on to all your receipts and invoices because they will come in handy when it's time to file your taxes. Thanks for tuning in this video. If you enjoy it, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. And as always, feel free to leave a comment down below with any questions or feedback. We will see you in the next one. Bye for now.